If you are thinking about moving to Kansas City, you're probably thinking, what is the best area for me? Today, I'm going to break down the 10 best areas in Kansas City for each type of person. And at the very end, I'm going to give you my opinion of the best overall area in Kansas City. Starting out with number one is the best area for families. Now, what am I looking for when I talk about best areas for families? Well, number one, public schools. A lot of people have the public school decision dictate where they are going to live. I was recently on a call with somebody who said, look, schools come first for my kids. Everything else comes second, including house. You're also going to want to think about commute, the amenities such as parks, and other things around that little kids like to do. A lot of these families are young families, so they're thinking about an affordable area. In considering all of these things, I would say the number one best area for young families is going to be Shawnee, Kansas. With the median price point of $438,000, you are going to have so many options in Shawnee, all with an amazing school system, and you're going to be pretty close to downtown Kansas City, which is the epicenter of everything that you could want to do in Kansas City. Not only do you get great schools, but you also get great parks. If you want new construction as a first-time homebuyer, you can do that. Now stick around for the best area for first-time homebuyers. It's not going to be Shawnee, but if you want new construction, you have that. If you want resale, you have that. If you want an older, more charming home, you can find that. If you want something that's newer, built in the 2000s, you also have that as well. Shawnee is a great diverse area for families, and it's all underpinned by the Shawnee Mission School District. And if you send your kids there, you're most likely not going to be disappointed. I've had plenty of clients who have moved into that school district who rave about how much the teachers care and the resources that they all have. So if you're looking to move as a young family or just a family into Kansas City, Shawnee, Kansas is going to be an area that you're thinking about. Now, a bonus area that I'm going to talk about for young families, and the only reason I mention this is because we are living the homeschool life right now. If you are going to consider homeschooling, then you are going to want to stay away from Kansas because the homeschooling laws in Missouri are going to be far better for you. So anywhere in Missouri, we have pretty lenient homeschool laws here. My wife is homeschooling our 3, soon to be 4 kids right now, and we love it here because of that. So if you're looking to homeschool, Missouri is going to be the better option than Kansas, but Shawnee, Kansas for most young families or most families in general is going to be a great choice. Number 2 is the best area for young professionals. And so what I'm thinking about is the proximity, commuting to your job, the walkability, the ability to get around wherever you wanted within the area, the gyms, the bars, the coffee. I'm also kind of thinking about, if you're thinking about buying, what kind of value can you get in this particular area? Another thing that I think young professionals think about as well is the fact that they're more likely to buy something like a condo or a townhouse or something like that, because if you have a young family like me, my oldest son is 6, then a condo or a townhouse is just not going to work for us because we need that yard. So with that being said, my opinion of the best area for young professionals is going to be the River Market. In the past 180 days, the median price point for River Market was $312,000. Now, many of those are not going to be detached single-family homes. Many of those are going to be condos, townhouses, lofts, those types of things you're going to get in River Market. Now, we talked about proximity and commuting to the job. If you work in downtown and live in River Market, you might be able to take the brand new Kansas City streetcar all the way down to downtown to your work. So that's great for public transportation. So many people call me and ask if they would need a car in the metro, and I would say yes, unless you live along a bus route, which I'll have to tell you, public transportation is more scarce here than in a lot of other metropolitan areas. I tell that to a lot of people, or I hear that from a lot of people who come from places like Philadelphia or New York, a place that has widespread public transportation. Kansas City is lacking in that for sure. But if you live in River Market, public transportation is going to be available to you, and you're going to be very, very close to downtown. A great setup for a young professional is somebody working downtown, living in River Market. I think that would be great. Now, moving on from young professionals all the way to the other end of the spectrum, retirees. Retirees are looking for, number one, healthcare access. You're getting older, you want to be close to a hospital in case of medical emergency, God forbid that you need to go into an emergency room. You really don't want to be out there in the sticks 45 minutes away from the closest hospital. Most retirees also want something that's going to be walkable. So in picking this area, I'm thinking about that too. There are going to be quite a few retirees that are looking for something that is maintenance provided, or at least something that's going to be much smaller, so that if it's just the two of them or if it's just one of them, it's not going to be too much to upkeep. Cost of living is going to be less on the list because, if you've saved your whole life, hopefully you have a good chunk of change to put down on housing for the rest of your life. And of course, proximity to family and friends, which is going to be hard to grade this one, because obviously if you're coming to retire here and you already have some kids here, which is a very common thing that I hear, a young family will call me and say, hey, we're relocating to Kansas City. They buy a house here, and then 2 to 3 years later, their parents start relocating here as well. It's a story I've heard over and over again. So if you're retiring, of course, it's going to depend on where your family is and how close you want to be to your family. But if I had to just give you an area for retirees, it would be Prairie Village. The reason I chose Prairie Village is because you have great healthcare access to multiple hospitals in Prairie Village. It is smack dab in the middle of the metro, and if you needed to get downtown, or if you needed to get anywhere else, depending on where your kids were, if they did live in Kansas City, it's going to be a great place for a retiree to buy a house. Healthcare access, walkability, everything's walkable. It's beautiful in Prairie Village. It's going to be a little bit more expensive with the median price of a home in Prairie Village at $495,000. But hopefully, again, if you've been wise with your finances, if you've been saving, if you've been investing, then you should be able to have the funds to purchase a nice home in Prairie Village. Another thing that I want to mention to you is in Prairie Village, you do have these eclectic new builds that are coming up, these contemporary new builds where they take a lot, tear down the house, and then just build a giant house on top of that lot. Also, there are going to be a lot of smaller ranch style homes in Prairie Village, 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, 800 to 900 square foot home. You're going to find a lot of that in Prairie Village. And I know a lot of you who are thinking about retiring are going to want that one level living. So you can find new builds all across the metro that have the primary bedroom on the main. Prairie Village, you're getting all of that, plus the charm and the location and the prime location to the center of the Kansas City metro. Okay, the next area I have is the most affordable. Where to live in Kansas City if you're looking for the most affordable home. Now, in considering this, I'm not going to necessarily say move to X area where every home is $50,000, because honestly, one of the reasons that area is $50,000 is because, it's been essentially blighted, right? So this is a solid area that I think I can recommend people living in. It's got a decent school district. It's not the best. Lower cost of housing sometimes collaborates with lower school districts or lower school district rankings, but I don't necessarily think that is the case. I think this area is going to be a solid area if you want to purchase your first home here. We're going to get to first-time home buyers a little bit later. If you are looking to get a home, a very affordable home where you can still live and you can still commute to downtown and you're not way out in the sticks, then you're going to want to look at Grandview, Missouri. The median price of a home in Grandview is $240,000 in the past 180 days, and that is significantly cheaper than anything that we've seen so far. So with Grandview, what you're going to get is you're going to get a decent, not the best, but a decent school district. You're going to get 20 to 25 minutes away from downtown Kansas City if you are going there at all. You're also going to get a place that's relatively safe and then very affordable. People like houses in Grandview because of the fact that they are so cheap. If you only had $200,000, you could get a better house in Grandview than you could most anywhere else. Now, of course, you're going to give up some of those things, some of those amenities. You could get a smaller house in, say, Olathe for the same price. But if you do want something really cheap, and sometimes a really big house for $200 and something thousand, Grandview, Missouri is going to be your best bet. Now moving on to the most luxurious area. When picking the most luxurious area, we're not just looking at price points. Of course, we are looking at price points, but we're not just looking at price points. We're looking, does the area also have the amenities that people who are looking for luxury are going to care about? Most people looking for luxury are going to want to be seen as high status. And one of the reasons that I didn't include an area like Riverside, Missouri is because I think that this area that I'm going to name right now carries higher status, at least amongst people around here, than an area like Riverside, where a lot of the homes are in the near $1 million price point. This area is known for being, upper class. It's known for being higher society, and that is Leawood, Kansas. You have plenty of private golf in Leawood. I love to golf, and I had a client who almost bought a home in the Hallbrook area of Leawood, which is a very, very exclusive area. Homes are going to be well into the millions, sometimes even more. If it tells you anything, I know Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have a house in Leawood. It is a great area because of the fact that you are still very close to the center of the Kansas City metro. You're close to downtown. You're close to everything that you could possibly want, but you have all the amenities of living in the upper crust of society. Of course, you're going to pay for it. The median price of a home in Leawood, and remember, this is a median price, is $740,000. For $740,000, you could get a ton of acreage if you wanted out in a very rural area. You could get a new build in almost any area, but in Leawood, you're going to have to pay that for the median home. Homes in Leawood are going to be very, very spacious. Some of them you could call estates. This is also an area that I considered putting as one of the best areas to retire in, but I think Prairie Village, because it's obviously much cheaper than Leawood with a lot of the same amenities, I put there. But if you want to be known as high class, if you want to be known as higher society, then Leawood, Kansas is going to be the area that you're going to want to buy a home in. Now, next is the best area for entertainment. So what I'm looking for in this area is obviously one of the more straightforward areas is how close are you to nightlife? How close are you to culture? How close are you to everything that Kansas City has to offer? And there's no better place to do this than to move smack dab in the middle of downtown Kansas City. Now, when I talk about downtown Kansas City, I'm talking about like living in the Power and Light district. I'm talking about living in the Crossroads district. Those are areas that you're going to want to consider if you're moving to downtown. Now, River Market can kind of be roped into this as well, but I think the reason that it's better for young professionals and not for people who are looking for main sources of entertainment is because if you live in River Market, it's going to be slightly quieter at a certain hour than it is going to be in downtown Kansas City. This is also going to include like the Union Hill area. So this is a pretty broad area. And of course, many of these are not going to just be single family homes, although you can find a single family home in the downtown, what I classify as downtown area, but most of these are going to be condos and most of these are going to be lofts. The median price for a property in the downtown area was $280,000 in the past 180 days. So if you want to live in downtown, one of the things that you're going to want to count on is, especially if you buy a condo, you're going to have high HOA dues. Now, a lot of those dues will cover quite a bit. They'll cover insurance. They'll cover the maintenance of the building. They'll cover a gym membership. You don't have to pay for a gym membership. You just have to go to get the benefits. They'll cover things like parking. All of those things will be covered, and sometimes they'll even cover, electricity or water or those types of things. So if you do live in downtown, expect to pay that monthly payment, that monthly HOA due. Another thing to think about too is I have plenty of people who are calling me who are buying condos and stuff cash, but if you do buy something like that, then those HOA payments are in perpetuity, and a lot of the times they do creep up over time. It's just the inflationary nature of running an HOA. So you're warned, but of course, for all of that, you get everything that downtown Kansas City has to offer. The fantastic shows at T-Mobile Center, the awesome sports watching at Power and Light. You have so many things at your fingertips if you live downtown. The next area that I'm going to talk about is the best area if you just want to be outside. If you're the best outdoors area, and I thought of a lot of areas for this. I thought of Smithville because of obviously the big lake up there. I thought of Weatherby Lake because, again, the big lake up there. But one of the things that I think an outdoor area should have too is not just nature, but also a good mix of nature and urban outdoors. We love just going downtown and walking. We love going to these small town, like a lot of these areas or cities surrounding Kansas City will have their own quaint little downtown area or old town area, and we like going there. So I wanted to consider that as well. And that's kind of where Smithville didn't necessarily make the cut. Another thing that I wanted to think about too was not only are you just having a body of water, do you have hiking trails, do you have parks, do you have nice creeks, and are those accessible, right? Is it easily accessible from where you live? Okay, so for all of this, I came up with Parkville, Missouri as the best area for somebody who is outdoorsy or somebody who wants to be outdoors a lot. And the reason that I picked Parkville over some of these other areas is because you do have, water. Now, you can't swim in the Missouri River that cuts through Parkville, but you can take a walk alongside the Missouri River, and you go to English Landing Park, and you have a great walking trail there right alongside the Missouri River. I think this is a great area to just spend some time, but also right next to that too, you have a very, very cute downtown Parkville area, mini golf outside, a bunch of boutique shops, and all of those things too. You also have the Parkville Nature Sanctuary. You can go hiking there. At the very end, there's a waterfall, and the hike's not too strenuous, so even if you have little ones like me, almost all of my little ones, except for my one that just started walking, can do that hike. So with all of that, that's why I named Parkville the best area for somebody who wants to be outdoors a lot. The median price of a home in Parkville in the past 180 days is $540,000. So you can see it is on the high end, but you're not only getting a great outdoors area, but you're getting a great school district in the Park Hill School District as well. So think about that when you're relocating. If you are a lover of the outdoors, Parkville, Missouri may be the place for you. The next area is the best area for first-time homebuyers. Now, you might be thinking, why is this area I'm going to name the best area for first-time homebuyers? And the reason that I wanted to pick this area is because it offers a good balance. It's still pretty affordable. It's got plenty of parks and outdoor areas, not as nice as Parkville. It's got some entertainment, but not necessarily a lot. But it's growing. There's a lot of more amenities coming into this area. And it's relatively close to downtown for people who are commuting. And so for all of that, I chose Blue Springs, Missouri. This is a good area for a first-time home buyer, and I'm going to tell you why. Many people, when they buy their first home, it's definitely not going to be their last home. They want to buy that home and they want to use it as a store of value, as an investment, so that they can sell it in 5 to 10 years in order to buy their next home. Now, one of the best ways to secure a good investment is to invest in a quality school district. And the Blue Springs School District is commonly ranked on the top 10 school districts in the Kansas City area. People rave about the Blue Springs schools, and so that's a great place to store wealth. That's a great place to invest. If you hold on to that area long term, then you do have the opportunity to then sell and make a nice profit. And also, it's still relatively affordable. The median price of a home in Blue Springs in the past 180 days is $330,000. So you do have that huge gamut of, you can go below that and get a home for $200,000, or you can go way above that and get a home for $500,000 or $600,000. It's all available for you in Blue Springs, but a lot of people love it out there because of the fact that you have a whole plethora of amenities there. Now, moving on to the next area is the best area for investors in Kansas City. I get a surprising amount of calls from people who are looking for their first or second or third rental property, trying to diversify their portfolio here in Kansas City and the Kansas City metro. And one of the areas that they talk about, or one of the things that they ask me is, what is the best area if I'm looking to get a rental property? You know, this is something that I put my money where my mouth is. I think one of the better areas to get a rental property is Kansas City, Kansas. I say that I put my money where my mouth is because I own a property in Kansas City, Kansas that has done very well for me in terms of rental and in terms of maintenance. It's been great. It's been smooth sailing from there on. So Kansas City, Kansas, and the median price point of a single family home is $225,000. So you're going to be able to get a whole gamut of homes. I sometimes have people say, hey, look, I have $500,000. Can I get 2 homes in Kansas City, Kansas? Of course you can. And what kind of renters are you going to get there? You're going to get pretty solid renters. At least that's been my experience of renting to people in Kansas City, Kansas. Of course, you're going to want to screen people. You're going to want to make sure that they're thoroughly qualified to rent from you. Now, one of the things that we don't talk about a lot on this channel is multifamily. If you're looking for multifamily, if you're looking for a duplex or even a triplex or even a quadplex, then Kansas City, Kansas is going to be a great area for that as well. If you're looking for a multifamily home, the median multifamily home sold for $262,000. So you can see it's still relatively affordable when you compare it to other areas in the Kansas City metro. Now we've gotten to the final area, and that is the best overall area. It combines the great school district for families. It includes the multitude of entertainment areas for young professionals. If you wanted to retire there, you certainly could, because it's located more in the middle of the Kansas City metro. It's a large enough area that you could still find affordable homes in this particular area. It also has plenty of luxury. If you want to spend more than $1 million, you can find a place here. Outdoors, they've got a really cool farmstead and a botanical garden. This might be giving it away. You are close enough to downtown, so if you want the culture and nightlife and everything like that, you could go there. But also it has its own quaint little downtown. If you were a first-time home buyer and you put a bet on this area to appreciate, I think this would be a great bet. If you could afford an investment property here, this would be a great one. It is going to be Overland Park. I think if you squished all the best of these areas together, you would have Overland Park, Kansas. You have so many options there. It is such a large area, so if you want luxury, you can have luxury. If you want affordable, you can have affordable. I mean, it is just a huge plethora of stuff that you could have. So my best overall in terms of this list is going to be Overland Park, Kansas. And if you want a tour of Overland Park, click right here.